I'm not very well either.
Oh, how's your new sound position?
Great, love it. Especially love my mini fridge. Do you want to wipe your webcam? I think you're a bit blurry.
No, I have a lower res webcam on my new laptop.
How's your new sound? There we go. Excellent. That's on. That's one thing I haven't done. I haven't shared audio.
Is that better? No.
Hang on, I haven't got the screen up at the moment. Audio.
I mean, I think I've just DFA'd you, but
Share computer audio. Right. No, that's probably worse, to be honest. Oh, and now we have a visitor. Hello. Right. Now I have you. Let's put you out. Ah! Claw in the tit. Claw in the tit. Ah! Right. Out you go. Right, YouTube just got claw in a tit as the opening gambit for our podcast.
claw in a tit. Brilliant.
Claw in a tit. Ah. Right.
Are we live?
Yes, we are. We are now.
Oh yeah. It's all YouTube's changed. Not YouTube. Zoom's changed, and it's confusing me.
Oh yeah, did it not say this has been live streamed? It didn't.
No.
Did it? Okay. Go Zoom.
But it is live.
Yes, it is.
But no, it's sometimes like everything's changed. Have you not noticed on Zoom?
No, I've not been on Zoom for a few weeks. So
there's now a new leave button that looks like someone exiting a door.
Oh, no, that's been like that for. Oh no, that's been like that for a long time. But mine's a hexagon.
What do you mean yours is a hexagon?
Mine is a red hexagon with a white square in the middle of it. That's my exit button.
No, my leave is a little man running out of a red door.
That's what it used to be. God, Ireland are well behind the times. Would you mind not leaning onto me? According to my camera, you're like sitting on my lap at the moment.
I've got to go this way, have I?
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. Right. So we have Owain in the
I
chat.
moved my mic over so it looks like I'm talking into my mic. And then that way I try and stay over. So I've got to lean this way. Okay.
There we go. Right.
Lean on me.
I mean, if I wasn't doing a stupid immersive view, then it wouldn't be a problem. But there we go. So apologies for my voice today. I'm not very well. But I'm better than my wife, who has been bad for about 3 weeks. So I'm not comparing. Oh, George is on.
Yeah, that's what I'm laughing at.
Tom Man Hadley cat. Oh, what they don't know.
Yeah, Owen's right. Owen's saying, yeah. Owen. I just called you Owen. I'm sorry, Owen. Owen's right. Yeah, they recently updated it. I'm sure they have.
Okay, well, don't know.
Have you pressed record, darling?
No, I haven't pressed record yet.
Press fecking record.
But I want this to be really unprofessional, just to make George's fingers twitch, because I know he hates it when people are unprofessional. So,
well, he shouldn't be fucking listening to this podcast then.
Definitely not.
Or this attempt of a podcast or live stream or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, it's still
recording. There we go.
It still does recording in progress. Right, let's start.
Recording in progress.
Oh, what the hell? That's not working.
Yeah, it did. I heard it.
Did you? Yeah, but you came out ambiently.
What does that even mean? Look, I know you've been in the theatre all day, all night, week,
that shouldn't be
doing sound stuff. No one cares. Just press play.
Hang on, let me try this.
Oh my god!
No, that's not working.
Yes, I can still hear it.
Yeah, but you shouldn't hear it like that. This is great content.
Hear it how? It's
no,
the same.
I need to do it. It's not going to record properly otherwise. No, I need to fix this. This is
my god! I'm sorry, world.
This is my fault for going live before we tested the audio. No, I need to fix this. Right, so let's just reload my. There we go. Did you hear that?
It sounds exactly the same.
Yes, it did to you, but to me, it's completely different, and to the recording, it's completely different. Huzzah! Right, let's start the podcast.
Max Verstappen has taken the checkered flag to win. That was absolutely brilliant. Sergio Perez is giving it everything. Oh no, baby, that was so not right. Goes Leclerc, through goes Hamilton. Unbelievable stuff. And into each other goes Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez.
Bottas 2 hours
And on the back, that's George Russell out of this race. Daniel Ricciardo makes contact there with Kevin Magnussen, and there's a second contact.
podcast is run by the FIA stewards, I think.
Yeah, just make it up as we go along.
Yeah, it will be inconsistent. Sometimes we'll have it ambient, sometimes we'll have it.
I mean, the thing is, it sounded slightly different to me. That sounded like more echoey that time. I don't know. Weirdly clearer but echoey. Go and work that one out.
Okay, interesting. That's definitely a convoluted FIA rule set. That is.
Yeah.
Although I will admit, I will get straight to the point there. I will admit that I was pretty angry straight after watching the because I watched the race on a slight delay.
Laura went to bed angry, and
I went to bed on a very slight delay. So I watched the race on a very slight delay. I was about 40 minutes behind. So Grid Talk was up and running. And then I had just watched the race, and I tuned straight into the live stream and vented my anger in their live chat. Sorry, Tom. And I know it was very late, and you didn't want to do a post show, but I was begging for a post show because I wanted to vent my anger on the live chat. So I was very angry, but I've had the chance to calm down a bit now. I just think that the rules are completely wrong, but I'm sure we'll get to that. I think to the letter of the law, the stewards made the correct decision as the rules are written. But
let's start off with the
shit.
Let's start off with the sprint because it was a sprint weekend. Here we go.
Sprint,
we've got 5 races in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
because I'm counting the sprint as a race. I know some people don't, but it's a fucking race. They start, they end, they compete in the middle.
Yeah.
So.
I have to say they said I haven't put the sprint standings in my sprint calculator.
Oh no!
Do that. Spreadsheet is not 100% up to date. I'm upset.
Shock horror.
They were saying Max Verstappen hasn't won the sprint since Austin. Like that was the last sprint. Sorry, Austria. That was the last sprint. He's won every sprint this year,
and he's won it again.
Yes.
Spoiler alert. But to be honest, the sprint was a good race. The sprint was a good sprint. It was actually an interesting race, and it felt like they were actually racing for once.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad
compared to normal. I don't really have much else to say because Oscar just didn't do well in qualifying. He had
a bad weekend all round, didn't he?
He had a bad weekend. Lando had a rubbishish weekend. He should have done better. Max had a sort of medium weekend. And George Russell was George Russell. Although, spoiler alert, George Russell did the best thing in the race. But he did. But in the main race,
I'm just filling in my sprint standings as we do this.
Oh God! So you're expecting me to talk over this while it's happening? Race was the Hasses.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in that little team, but the irony that they're all doing well and they're now getting rid of both drivers. Although I thought Hulkenberg was the better driver, if you will, but actually, what's his chops? Kevin Magnussen
finished ahead of him.
Finished ahead of him in the sprint. Finished behind him in the main race. But
that's the first time he scored points in the sprint this season.
Oh wow!
I've just filled in my sheet finally.
There we go. I mean, Mercedes are having a really shitty time in general. I think they had a shitty weekend. But the sprint, was there anything?
Sorry, go on.
Was there anything big that came out of the sprint?
There was that lovely battle between the Ferraris. That was good.
Oh
fun.
yeah,
and
that
then
was good.
Norris running out
because no one neither of them really give a shit because.
But because if Ferrari had just gone with it and just a bit just run in tandem at the moment, they probably would have won. Because they had the pace and they had the tyre life, but they were taking so much time off each other that Verstappen was just going merrily on his way. And then you saw at the end that Norris, after his great start, spoiler alert, that doesn't happen in a race.
In either of the races.
Yeah. No, he had a great start in the sprint.
Did he?
He went from 4th to 2nd.
Oh, yeah.
It was a great start in the sprint. So it shows he can do it. And Austin as well, it's a terrible track for starts. You don't want to be on pole in Austin. You don't want to be in pole in Austin. Yeah. But equally, you just need to be more aggressive in the first corner. But hey,
anyway,
we'll get to that. But yeah, so if that hadn't been happening, if they'd have just allowed them to just run line astern until they get up to the back of people, then they probably would have won the race because they had so much more tyre life than Norris at the end. And obviously Norris was doing his best to keep up with Verstappen. Something wasn't quite right in that setup, which they did fix for the Sunday. But Verstappen had probably equal machining to the Ferrari, maybe slightly less than the Ferrari, but the McLaren was the third fastest car all weekend, to be honest.
Yeah. And I think they sort of resigned to that. It wasn't. Oh, I've gone robotic. I don't know if you can hear my roboticness.
No, you sounds fine, my end.
Okay, it's just coming back to me as robotic.
Oh, joy! There's someone at the door, and I can't get it.
You can. You can.
Well,
Oi, get mine. Get mine.
Yeah. Hang on. Let's have a quick look on the camera. See who it is.
It's probably your mum.
Oh no, that's not it. I don't know who that is. Oh, it's fine. It won't be important. I'll just leave it. It'll probably be a parcel or something. Anyway, carry on.
Hope it's not important. So where was I? Can't even
Sorry,
remember.
I interrupted you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think they resigned to being third on the whole period, on the whole race, and I don't think they were ever trying to do anything more than be third. There was no. I think was it just that this track was not designed for their car, or they just got everything wrong, or.
It's not the greatest setup for their concepts. I think I said that after the race. They weren't expecting to be quick here, but they've at least you can still say that. I mean, looking at the race again, it's kind of. I think they were still able to fight for pole, and I know it looked like, in all likelihood, Lando was about to lose pole position on the main qualifying. He still put the lap in that first run. He was still the quickest. I know Max lost a bit of time in turn 19, but he was slightly down on Norris's best time at the time of the red flag. He probably would have improved because he did lose a stack of time in turn 19 in the previous lap, but he was down at that point. He was down, and Norris was on a lap as well.
Yeah,
he was probably equaling his last time. So I expect it probably would have been Verstappen on pole, but I don't think it was absolutely nailed on. It was likely. But if George had gone through the gravel and come back on, perhaps that would have distracted him. And so you don't know.
So Tom, everyone has just gone on to the qualifying for the main race.
Yeah.
And we haven't finished the sprint, but obviously we have finished the sprint.
But we were talking more about like the car concept in general. And I was just alluding to how the McLaren still had a car that was able to fight.
Tom's done a me and just gone off on random tangents.
Yeah. So it was able to fight for pole, but wasn't the quickest car. Yeah. So I mean, Norris got everything out of his lap and Max didn't.
He's still talking about it.
You just said we were still talking about the competitiveness of the McLaren, and I was referring it to the qualifying. Right. Anything else you want to talk about on the sprint?
What else was there on the sprint? I don't think there was. Colapinto did better than Albon, which is quite funny. I think Colapinto did better than Albon all weekend. But the Haas.
I'm starting to get an irrational dislike for Colapinto, and I'm not sure why.
Well, we'll talk about that in a bit. I think the irrational dislike is that he doesn't know how to handle the media. Full stop.
Possibly, yeah. So it might.
And I think that's it. I think it's a genuine.
There was something else. There was something else that annoyed me about him this weekend, and I can't remember what it was. I'll come back to me.
He doesn't know how to handle the media. He doesn't know how to. So I think even before qualifying of the sprint, which Colapinto came out, alluded to some bracelet on some journalist, from what I understand.
Yes, no, I saw about that.
And I think, but
that was a friend of his apparently. But
even if it was a friend of his, like in a public forum, I wouldn't be taking the mick out of you, even on this. Do you know what I mean? Like, and we've said stuff to each other.
George, make a note of that. Next time he's on Grid Talk, he's not allowed to take the mick out of me.
Oh no, I can take the mick out of you, but there are lines that do not be crossed, and and there's things that you don't say, like in.
There's taking the mick, and then there's
there's isms, if you will.
Yeah.
And the isms are where you don't. Oh, I'm back to being echoey. The isms are where you don't cross. I can call you a bell end, but I can't call you one of the isms.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I get that. But there was something else he did as well. There was definitely something else, because that was last
week. And then he ignored Martin Brundle, which was quite funny.
Oh, yeah, that was it. Yeah, that's what it was. It was, but yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's still media related.
I don't really care too much.
I don't care that he ignored.
I'm not actually a massive fan of Martin Brundle, so like, I'm
I know.
sure why that annoys me, to be honest.
it's a matter of that he ignored. Well, Martin has said that I haven't spoken to this guy ever, so I'm going to have my opportunity. Maybe it's not the right point, but I think it was the look of dislike that he gave him of who the fuck are you, fuck off.
And I mean, to be honest, like, I do think the F1 grid does need a dickhead. We haven't had a dickhead since Mazepin dropped out, and I think you need someone to hate. And it gets boring hating on Stroll all the time. So yeah, maybe we need that, like that villain, that pantomime villain to hate on.
Yeah, and Magnussen is a dick, but he's actually all right. Do you know that's the problem with him, isn't it? Like, and the same with Hulkenberg, the same with Verstappen. They're dicks, but they're actually all right.
Yes. Anyway, silence is not good for a podcast. Yes. Are you reading Ruby's comment? Are you?
Yes.
Yes. No, I absolutely agree. And just to clarify, I wasn't saying that what he said was okay. I was saying what he said was something to a friend, but that doesn't justify what he said. No, I'm not saying. It's fine. It's fine. It was his mate. That wasn't what I was saying at all. But yes, completely understand.
But that's what he tried to justify it with, which didn't actually help.
Yeah, it's that typical. It's that. But
I think isn't it? I think it's that young person's mentality of not having a fucking clue in life and thinking they know it all.
Yeah, but
and that's part of the problem.
People and
their education.
People of his age should be better educated than that. Yeah. I'd understand that if that was Helmut Marko, or even Martin Brundle or someone of that generation. But of someone of Colapinto's generation, that those kind of comments shouldn't be made.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was last week.
Yeah.
Let's still talk about this week. Now you've just gone back to last week.
So, but this is pre-sprint, so I'm allowed to talk about that, surely.
Not after we've already spoken about the sprint.
Okay, right.
We don't have a script for this.
Yeah. Are we
looking at the standards?
Do you remember the days when we used to have scripts and bullet points?
We did, yeah. We actually did a lot of research and was fairly professional.
And now we just bust it.
Yeah. And you know
what? I promise you this isn't white wine. It looks like white wine.
It does look like white wine.
No, it's lime.
Oh, okay. It's either that or a very unhealthy urine sample.
Yeah, I'm just going to have my glass
of
wine.
Anything else?
I'm in Ireland now, we drink in the mornings.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And I'm drinking a pint of vodka.
Yeah.
Right.
Bunch of alcohol.
Else. So Hamilton recovered. I think, remember, did he have a recovery drive or up to 6th? Or am I thinking?
Why does it feel like so long ago? I hate these evening races. Half of me falls asleep halfway through them.
I'd love to do them earlier, but the thing is, I'm always doing other things when it comes to Austin and Mexico. So I love the out of hours podcasts, but like the late ones and the early ones, but I can never do them, which is really annoying. I love getting up at 4 o'clock and doing a podcast. It's great. 4 a.m.
Yeah, so Wayne, that is exactly our script. Go off topic and say what you like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, we pretty much do. Yeah, that's pretty strong for us.
Yeah. Just don't be offensive. We can be rude, but not offensive.
Yeah, I haven't got the memo on that occasionally.
Yeah. No, we can insult people, but we can't be bigoted. Obviously, because we're not as people. It's not like we try not be bigoted on, genuinely we're not bigoted. Anyway, so is there anything else we want to talk about?
Try and be bigoted, I suppose, to get
reactions. They do for clicks, don't they? They do.
Is that what Colapinto's doing?
No, I don't think so. I think he's just. I think he's
just a fucking moron.
What is he? He's Argentinian, isn't he?
He's a fucking moron.
That's so I think he's. Just like you say, not media trained. So 12 for him,
but not also life skilled, understanding trained. Yeah. But I think I know that people hold opinions, but I think in the public forum they need to realize what they're saying and realize the consequences of that. And that's
absolutely
very much.
This is getting far too deep for a Monkeyseat podcast. Let's move on.
Oh, fuck it. Right. Let's talk about George Russell fucking whacking it into a wall and saving qualifying for Lando. I've never loved George Russell anymore.
I know you were quite happy about that, weren't you?
Yeah. I never want anyone hurt, being crashed or crashed out, hurt. But fuck me, I love where someone spins out. Oh, I've got echo again.
Hey, there we go.
I love when people. Oh, that's really weird. It's phasing between my ears.
Oh, okay. So the sound quality on this episode is going to be horrendous. You sound absolutely fine to me, or no worse than you normally do. So
thanks.
No
well,
idea.
you just sound shit because
but that's more just my voice in general and how I feel right now, as opposed to audio issues. So yeah.
Tom, I have noticed though in this camera you're going whiter and whiter.
No, that's just me. I'm just ill. I'm about to projectile vomit all over the webcam.
And it goes into your beard as well. It's like you've got like a little like goatee thing going on, but you've actually got a full beard. It's quite funny.
Excellent. Cool.
I'm allowed to abuse Tom, right?
Yeah. That's fine. Cool. So, qualifying. Really Norris held on to pole. What else happened in qualifying? I was looking at my spreadsheet. All hail the spreadsheet. So Perez once again. 10th.
I mean, like,
I know he hasn't got the upgraded floor, but
didn't. Yeah. Where did Perez end up? Perez ended up 9th and no points. 1 point out. 1 place out of the points
in the sprint, but we're not talking about that anymore.
And then I know, but I was just looking, and then he ended up at 7th with 6 points.
But it was trending.
It's sort of where he should be.
No, it's not though, is it? Really? He finished behind George Russell, who started from the pit lane. Piastri had an off weekend.
I forgot about that. George Russell had an amazing drive then.
So let's just put this in perspective. So
how the fuck did George Russell end up there after starting in the
Perez
pit?
finished where he should have been, 3 seconds ahead of a Haas in a race with no safety cars. No, and then Lawson.
Hang on, there was a safety car.
Was there a safety car?
In the sprint?
Was there a safety car?
There was a safety car.
Yeah. Was there a safety car for Hamilton?
Yeah, there was a safety car for Hamilton.
Okay, but that was very early on.
It was the first safety car that we've had in a long while.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But yeah, even so, in a race with very little in the way of stoppages.
So let's talk about Hamilton. Let's talk about Hamilton while we're talking about him and his Crash Bandicoot moment. So Wolf turned around and said it was purely the car. There was a problem.
Yeah, Hamilton doesn't really spin out of races very often, does he?
Yeah, which he was alluding to previously.
Which is probably the same thing in fairness. If we're going to be fair and balanced here, which we never are in the Monkeyseat, but if we're going to be fair and balanced, it's probably the same issue that put George Russell into the barrier. The only difference between those two was the fact that George was pushing on no fuel on a quali lap and Hamilton was race managing. So that's probably the only reason Hamilton didn't end up in the barrier. Yeah.
But it was also more fortuitous for George Russell to carry in the barrier as opposed to Hamilton, because I don't think it really helped anyone him going into the barrier because it was so early.
He just fell off the track, but it was annoying because he was trending to be, let's see, who else on that hard tire? He was the furthest up on the hard tire. He was trending to finish ahead of Perez. He was ahead of Russell on track. He probably would have been fighting Piastri, or probably not. No, he probably would have been in that gap between Russell and Piastri. There was a pit stop gap. Yeah, actually saying that, there was a pit stop gap between Russell and Piastri. Why the hell didn't McLaren box Piastri for the fastest lap? That's an extra point in the constructors, which we're going to be talking about later.
Oh, yeah.
And also the fastest lap is going in 5 races. Thank God for that.
Yeah. Don't worry. Esteban Ocon got it. I mean, which team's he trying to support that? Is he trying to support Mercedes? I can't quite work out.
No, so he took the fastest lap point away from, I think, was it Magnussen or Hulkenberg had it at the time? So it's somebody that Alpine was fighting with. So he took the point away from someone else. Yeah. But again, that's the point. It
must have been Hulkenberg.
Yeah, someone like that. It was somebody.
Oh, actually, was it Lawson?
It might have been Lawson. Actually, I think it was Lawson because he stopped late. He started on the hards, didn't he? Yeah. So I think it was Lawson. You're right.
It was Lawson. So actually, it made sense.
It made sense in a stupid way that the fastest lap point does not make sense at all in general. Yeah. So I'm glad it's going.
Yeah, I still think they should get a point if they get the fastest lap, even if they're at the bottom. Because I think why?
Because unintended consequences. They did it in Formula E and it became an absolute farce. You had 2 people going for the championship and they only had 1 point. Both of them were out of contention and they both kept boxing every lap for the fastest lap. They were lapped like 7 times, but they just kept boxing to get the fastest lap because it's the only way they could get points. It was an absolute farce. No, you can't do it. You can't do it.
That would be quite funny though.
No, but it would just be ridiculous. What you would have is everyone outside of the points would just be pitting every lap for new tyres to try and get the fastest lap. It would just be insane, and it'd be dangerous. There'd be so many people going through the pit lane.
There could be a point where Lando and Max end up with a point in between them. That could be hilarious.
The only way you could do it is if you mandated a maximum number of pit stops. But again, you can't do that because what if you've got a puncher?
Okay, here's a question. I don't think it's ever happened, but Owain will tell me, and you'll probably tell me. Has there ever been a point thing where we've actually had two world champions on the same? And how does that work?
How do you end up two world champions on the same?
They end up with the same points.
No, we've never had them finish on the same points. There's been one championship settled by half a point. If it goes to equal points, then it does count back on race wins.
Okay. And what happens if they have equal race wins?
Then it goes on poles, I believe. Okay. I think it goes on pole positions after that. Okay. And then if that's then equal, then I imagine it probably does count back, like number of second places, number of third places, that kind of thing. Yeah. So there is something in place for if that happens. Okay. But I think it's so unlikely. But one thing I'm going to mention as well, actually, it's time now, because there is definitely the capability of doing this. I know we measure to the thousandth of a second, and that is fine. But there's so many times now, the field is so fast, people are setting the identical lap times. Mm-hmm. And currently the rule is you go to the whoever sets it first. I know we don't need to display 4 decimal places on the screens because that's just ridiculous. But why can't we time them at 4 decimal places? And then if there is 2 people with the same lap time, then it displays the 4th decimal place, because it's happening far too frequently now. It's the kind of thing that happened once every 10 years in the past, but now it's happening 5-6 times a season.
Why would you need a 4th decimal place when it's first across the line gets that?
But that's the thing. The problem is you can open up the argument of, well, I did the faster lap time, but I started second and that ruined my race. Okay. Because if you've got 2 people, let's say pole position is identical lap times.
Yeah.
And then and it's at Monaco.
Yeah.
You're then awarding a win at Monaco based on the fact that someone said it
the basis is at the moment, and from my understanding, is that whoever first passed the post.
Whoever sets the lap first, if the lap times are identical, they get the time.
Yes, which in theory, a track ramps up. So thus, the person that did it first has a slight disadvantage compared to the person who does it second. But which tracks don't ramp up?
What if the climate's changing and it's getting wetter and wetter?
Yeah.
So I think it's not a one size fits all rule that works in every scenario, and it's such an easy thing. Like we can time to 6 decimal places if we want to. We can probably time to more than that. There's no point. But why not have that 4th decimal place available for access? Because even back in 1997, they were timing to 4 decimal places. Back when they had they had 3 drivers on the same finish on the same lap time, first, second, and third. And then you had Damon Hill like 3,000th of a second behind in 4th place. But they can do it. But even back then, they were timing it then, but it was someone else that timed it. It wasn't FIA, so they couldn't use it.
Okay. Right.
But I just don't see why they don't do that.
Yeah. It'd be
that's just one little rant. I want to get that rant out in the public domain because it's something that's been annoying me for a couple of years now.
There you go.
Cool. Right. Move on to the race. We've been talking for nearly half an hour and we haven't actually spoken about the race yet.
Oh, there we go. I mean, the race happened.
Verstappen's
hang on, I'm just looking at the score.
Verstappen's turn 1 antics.
Oh, right. Hang on. Right, no, let's go from the very beginning.
Yeah, so
turn 1. Very good place to start.
Musical reference.
And a shit musical at that, in my mind, but Tom loves it and so does Emily.
Not massive. It's all right. It's fine.
You've been there. You've sung in the hills. Don't bullshit me.
Just for clarity, I did not Maria von Trapp on the Untersberg.
You did Maria von Trapp. I know you did. If you didn't, Emily certainly did.
I didn't swing my arms and sing Sound of Music at the top of the mountain.
Emily did, though, didn't she?
Mm.
Yeah.
Of course she did. Of course she did. Come on.
Tom did as well, but there's no video proof of it. Please, Emily, if you have video proof of Tom swinging his arms to the top of a mountain, please send it. Right. So the first corner, Lando is at the front. Happy days.
Yep, he makes a very good start. Actually, he makes a better
start.
He
actually gets off the line the quickest.
Initial start was the best, but he wasn't aggressive enough.
That is such a hard corner to deal with. That first corner, Becking opens up wide and then does a massive left-hand turn.
and it flattens out,
and then
it
flattens out, and it goes, and the camber's all over the place, and it is just an absolute nightmare, that top corner. And it's all uphill, and it's all a bit weird. So trying to get your gear shifts right, it must be fucking difficult.
Yeah.
Not that I would know driving an automatic, but I think that I don't know what he could have done. Which door? Yeah, but shut which door? Because he was trying to shut. He was trying to shut Max's door, which was more his worry. But weirdly,
he didn't. He halfway housed it.
Weirdly, his worry should have been the Ferraris.
Well, no, because if he'd have shut Max off, Max wouldn't have dived up the inside, wouldn't have pushed Lando right out to the edge of the track, and then the Red Sea parted and Ferrari just drove through the gap.
Yeah.
So, like, if Lando was able to take the optimal racing line through that corner, he comes out in first place. But because Max has stuck his car there, because Lando hasn't shut the door hard enough, but equally, you can't see a lot. You're going up the hill, it's starting to even out. You can't see what's going on. He doesn't know if Max is partially alongside him or not. It's just a very difficult turn one corner. It's a bit of a poison chalice turn one.
And you can't see anything out of those windows.
I've also just realised that the graphic I've put in the background is not this year's cars, is it? That must be the 2023.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, there's no buy bit on the back of them anymore.
Yeah, and that's also, there's an Alfa Romeo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and an AlphaTauri. Oh, well. Never mind. Oh, it's the right track. It's
track. And then you've got a blue Alpine, which was the most confusing fucking thing in the world.
Love that. Love that. What are we going to do to try and make our car as quick as the McLaren? I don't know. Paint it orange.
What are we going to do to make us as good as Mercedes and Strategic's fate? Paint it silver in McLarens.
Yeah. No. Bollocks.
So the McLarens went into Mercedes, and the Mercedes and the Alpines went into the McLarens. It was all a bit weird.
Yeah. So turn one, Verstappen. Yeah, what do you reckon? I'm unsure. I think that was more of an offence to the letter of the law than the ones later in the race.
Right, you want to go on to that as in who? Right, so. And I might be very wrong here, so don't go jumping down my throat. It was the first overtake was it Sainz?
No, it's Leclerc that went through.
Leclerc.
To the lead.
Sorry, I knew it was a Ferrari.
Leclerc did nothing wrong. He was fine. He just drove into the gap.
So Leclerc drove into the gap and went and stayed on the track. Yes.
Yeah, Leclerc was fine. It was.
And then Max went around the outside off the track.
No, he pushed Lando off.
He pushed Lando. Which one are we talking about?
We're talking about turn one. He dived up the inside of Lando, pushed him to the outside.
Oh, right. Sorry. I thought we were talking about the... Okay, go on. Right, start again. I'm now with you.
So, off the line, Verstappen goes up the inside of Norris, brakes late, pushes him out wide, and Leclerc just takes the racing line and drives around them both.
Yes.
That's all.
Yeah. So, what's wrong with that? What's your issues?
Well, he just forced him out off the track. Same as the one later on.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference was in this one, he actually stayed on track, I believe. I think I need to look at it again.
That's the thing.
One time.
The second time round.
But Norris was ahead. That's the difference, I think. Norris was ahead going into the corner.
Yeah.
And then Max forced him out while Norris was ahead. That's why there's a difference for me. Whereas the second one, but even the second one, Norris was ahead, but it's only because Verstappen braked so late that he couldn't make the corner. That made him ahead at the apex. But I hate this ahead at the apex thing.
Where is the apex?
It's as the apex.
No. No one knows. Don't try and give me an answer, because there is no answer, Tom. There is no where is the apex.
The apex is defined by when you can see the entire road on the corner from the tip of the corner. That's the apex.
Dude, I can see the entire road going up to corner one from the bottom of the fucking hill.
So it's when it opens out. So when it opens out,
is when it's flat again then. It's such a tight corner. And
where's
the apex at the fucking...
But to be honest, the apex is just like, it's this thing that the racing rules people have identified as this forever constant that never changes. But in reality, it depends on what you're doing, on how you're taking the corner, because you could be doing a wall of death around the outside. You could be you could be doing a you could be just purposely going around the outside and carrying more speed, which means you'd be behind at the apex, but have the better racing line out of the corner. And then if you're taking a tighter line, like Verstappen was, you're ahead at the apex, but you're going slower. Okay. So you're not really technically ahead. So this is why I'm saying the rules themselves need to be changed.
According to, let's do Oxford Dictionary. Where's the dictionary?
Oh, this is right. Okay, this is going to be a completely irrelevant...
the apex. Okay, here we go. Collins Dictionary. That seems like it. The apex...
Right. Oh, this is going to be boring. Sorry, everyone. Wake me up when you
tell you the highest point, the pointed tip or the tip of something, the pinnacle or high point of a career. So there you go. It's the highest point. So how do you work out the highest point of a corner?
Right, I'm moving on because this is boring.
Again, this is my problem. No, sorry. There is a justification about this. They've created this thing called Apex, which doesn't actually make any sense because there is no fucking apex, because there is no high point. There is no understanding of where that is. Without being rude, is it not fucking easy just to draw a fucking line in front of every corner and go, this is the apex point? Fuck it if no one agrees, but this is the apex point. If you are ahead at this point, that means you're ahead. Would that not make life a lot fucking clearer now?
Why can't they just make the racing rules simpler?
But how do they make the rules simpler? How do you justify that? What rule do you think you should have?
I don't know what the answer is, in all honesty, but I think I would rather we just stripped everything back to zero again and then just put in racing principles where saying if you are significantly alongside, but you can't put this whole one size fits all black and white regulation, because every overtake has mitigating circumstances. So you need to leave that up to the officials to deal with, but it needs to be dealt with at the time, and then everyone needs to accept the decisions. This whole thing of what they've tried to do, and in fairness, the rules that they've come up with are well-intentioned, but they're trying to make things black and white so there's no arguing and controversy. But the trouble is they invite it because they give everyone the opportunity to discuss it. So they're trying to make it so that they make the decisions in race, which they have done. In the olden days, that incident with Max and Lando towards the end of the race, that would have then been discussed after the race. We would have had a decision 2 hours after the race, but in all likelihood, the decision would have been a Lando Norris podium, which I think would have been the correct decision. But now with the current rules they've got, they're trying to get it done by everything fitting into a box, and sometimes that just isn't the case.
I think what needs to happen here is the edge. We're not playing football. We don't need the whole of the car over the whole of the line. The line is the edge of the track. Fucking make the car.
Thank you, Owain. Use your reader's comment.
What?
I knew Owain would come up with this.
Surely the apex is the point. That one.
Yeah.
Is the point of the corner where the radius is at its minimum.
Yes.
Sorry, that's what you're saying. But where is that? And how does that work on a corner? But
the trouble is, you've got two cars going into it, and they're both at different points. And
that's what I'm saying. How do you prove that point of the apex? If you had just a straight line, first person past this line wins. But either way, we should have if you go to Monaco, if you go to Singapore, the edge of the track is the edge of the track. There is no fucking line half the time because there's a fucking brick wall there. But on tracks like this, where there is so much space, why do we have this rule of the cars can go over the fucking line, and unless all of the car is over all the line? No, any part of the car should not track across the fucking line. That is the track. That is the space. I don't understand as to why we need this whole car over the fucking line thing.
But what they've tried to do is they're trying to police the whole white line thing as the edge of the track, which is great. Excuse me. But the problem is when you've got runoff and you've got people going wide at certain points and people at different speed differentials, it means that there's different.
But why
different
do we even need a runoff? Like, I don't understand.
Safety.
No.
Otherwise,
sorry,
we end up killing people.
Gravel.
Yeah, gravel. There's yes and no. You've got risk of flip. There's all kinds of stuff in there as well. Then it's so expensive.
And
for
lots
the tracks
of places
to do
have
that as
gravel.
Well.
Okay.
A lot of tracks would go out of business if the whole place was gravel.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be the whole place is gravel. And I understand what they're saying about, oh, we need to have the runoffs for the bikes and things because it's the bike track. I completely understand.
It's not just bikes as well. It's when you've got other events going on at the track as well.
Okay, I understand that. I get that. But there's these things called portable roadways, and they can move in and out, and they can bring in gravel pits, and it would make so much easier.
Very expensive way of doing it for the tracks. I mean, because the tracks are going to be struggling.
But then, sorry, it might be an expensive way, but they're trying to host Formula One, and if a fucking city can put up fucking fences around the whole of a fucking city, then these tracks can fucking put a bit of gravel down or fences around the whole fucking city. I'm not saying the fences, because don't get me wrong, because that would be awful. But do you know what I mean? Is that if a city can turn itself from a city into a Formula One track, such as Las Vegas, Singapore, Monaco, why can't these tracks sort something out that makes the edge of the track the edge of the track?
I like the solution that Austria came up with. I have to admit, I did like that. I think that was very eloquent. They had like this little strip of gravel, so you had a physical barrier where you went into, and it was visual. You could see that they made there's been an error there, and then it slows you down, but you don't get stuck in a gravel track.
Which I think, why can't they do that all the way around and then put a cover over that of some sort, or remove those and put a little bit of trap, so when you do get the motorbikes in,
that I don't know. I think like that would
it doesn't even have to be that wide or long, but either way, what I don't understand is why we don't. Oh, I've gone robotic again. Why we don't have the edge of the track become the edge of. Why do we have to have the whole car across the whole line?
Anyway, the whole conversation is boring me now.
But you're not answering the question.
Well,
why do we have to have the whole car across the whole line?
We need to have something to define it. But I just
the
think
line.
That they need
the right hand wheel on the line if you're going one way, and the left hand wheel on the line.
But then what do you do then? You've got a scenario where both people have had a situation like we've had there, with Verstappen and Norris both going off track. At what point do we then? What happens? So what happens in that with your rule in car F1? What happens with that? What is the punishment? Is there a punishment? What happens? How is that policed? Norris Verstappen towards the end of the race.
Okay, let me think about this one now. Now you flummoxed me.
Yes.
Right. So if you had, surely it's whoever went past the line first would have the penalty first, but then you're being pushed out. So. Yeah, fuck knows.
It's not easy, is it?
It's not, but it's the same issue that you've still got the same issue having the line or not having, having the whole car across the line. We still have the same issue because both cars were off track, which didn't help the situation.
Yeah, but as I said, for me, the reason both cars were out of the track was because Verstappen gamed the rules, knowing that if you're ahead at the apex, then it's your corner. He's braked so late that he is ahead at the apex, even though Norris was ahead going into the corner. But because he's braked so late, he can't then make the corner, and then he's pushed Norris out. And in a complete opposite way, that's exactly what he did in Silverstone in 2021 when Hamilton crashed into him and caused that big controversial crash. Mm-hmm. Hamilton was ahead going into the corner. Verstappen braked late. He probably would have ended up going wide anyway, and then they've collided. Now, I'm still saying Hamilton caused that collision, but that's why Verstappen was ahead.
Yeah.
So, and that's what he does. He brakes so late that he can't make the corner to make the other person look like they're behind. So then it's their fault.
Yeah.
And that's the problem for me. The problem with the current rules, there's no way of making it work. So
it's really boring, and something needs to change. And I think we both agree in that.
Yeah. Do you know what makes F1 so much more exciting? When you're applying mathematics to visceral overtakes. That's what I mean. Just strip it back, go back to the
1950s.
Not 1950s. This is the hard and fast rule. Every controversial incident is going to be looked at with a common sense approach and based on its merits. But what we can't do is we can't say it's going to be investigated after the race. It needs to be we need to address this within 10 minutes.
Okay, so let's go. Okay, you're the team principal of McLaren. What do you do?
With regards to,
as in, okay, you thought you were ahead at the apex, this imaginary line. That
McLaren did the right thing. that was their only chance. Yeah, no, absolutely. I genuinely do think that because
would you not have given it back? Would you not have given it back?
No, because we just had 10 laps of Lando trying to get past, and he was never going to let him past. It was going to be an absolute dive bomb. They're risking collision. There's at that point in the race, he's ahead. There might be just about enough time to pull out a 5-second gap, but knowing the FIA, they'd have just given him a 10-second penalty if he pulled out a 5-second gap anyway. He finished 4 and a bit seconds ahead in the end. But for me, like at that time, I was saying, yes, McLaren, don't give it back. I don't care if we lose a position. Make a statement, fight it out afterwards, because that was the right thing for me. They had to make that decision because Norris was never getting past.
Okay,
that was his only chance. Because like Verstappen was defending, so I can see like 2 laps later we have one car in the gravel, and likelihood is it's probably going to be a McLaren. So I think it was the right thing to let that go on. I have no issues with McLaren on that. That was the right thing to do for me because it's opened up the conversation again about the rules. Because if they'd have let him back through, that's an admission of guilt. Whereas now we're showing, do you know what? That was okay. That was fine. Max was in the wrong. We need to do something about this because for the greater good of the sport, that needs fixing. So I'm all for it. McLaren aren't going to win the Drivers' Championship this year. It's always been a pipe dream. It's been hopefully Verstappen will crash out of a race and then it will be take it to the last race. But I don't think it's even going to go to the last race now. Because looking at the points now.
But I still think
that the spreadsheet, it's 11.4 points per weekend. He's not going to make that up.
But I think that the constructors, I don't know if it's completely cut and dry, but the fact is that Ferrari are chasing fecking quickly.
Oh, Ferrari are only 8 points behind Red Bull now.
I couldn't do the maths quick enough, but you're right, yeah.
They're 8 points behind, 1.6 points per race weekend.
Going from first to third, and that's going to really feck them, really, isn't it?
I mean, Perez is the cause. Like, Perez has cost them second place in the constructors. I think McLaren would have been there or thereabouts anyway. But
I think Mercedes is a shoehorn for fourth. Like, there's no.
To be honest, the battle is I'm gonna have to change some things on my spreadsheet here. I'm gonna have to change the formula now from Ferrari chasing Red Bull. I might have to change it to Ferrari chasing McLaren because that's a more exciting battle now.
Yeah,
because I think that could potentially be an issue. So right.
Well, they've got 2 strong drivers in a strong car.
Yeah.
So that's what the difference is between them and Red Bull.
Yeah, the Ferrari now looks like it's an equal car to the McLaren.
Fucking hell, my dogs have farted. Oh. Fucking hell, which one of you fuckers?
Right.
Oh, they're both asleep in it. Oh. That fucking reeks. Oh.
Right. So the gap from the gap is 48 points from Ferrari to McLaren in the Constructors' Championship. That's 9.6 points per weekend. That's doable for Ferrari to catch McLaren if they've got the best car now.
Okay.
So there is now a fight on in the championship. I've now removed the Ferrari to Red Bull equation because there's no point calculating that anymore because it's so close.
Perez is never going to fucking
Perez is not going to match Sainz.
So Ferrari are getting double pointed.
Yeah.
You know,
so now even if 48 points,
even if McLaren, if Max ends up as first every fucking race now, and Ferrari end up 4th and 5th, they still end up with more points, don't they? Or 3rd and 4th, I can't remember.
3rd and 4th, definitely. 2nd and 3rd, definitely. So it's 25 for a win, 18, 15, 12. So 3rd and 4th would still be more than McLaren. So there's Verstappen. So yes, you are.
So mathematically, there is still a way they can win the championship.
Yeah.
Quite easy.
Not easy.
9 points.
Look, if Lando is out of the championship fight, then Leclerc definitely is. Because Leclerc he's only 22 points behind Norris now, but that means he's 69 points behind Verstappen. But what blows my mind is since that McLaren upgrade in Miami, where they've had probably the best package, or sometimes the best package, Max has still outscored Lando over that period. Lando has not closed in on Max at all.
No.
over that period. They've been very equal, and that is a testament to how well Max Verstappen has been driving. To be fair, Austria aside,
I'm not saying it's
Austria aside, when he completely punted Lando Norris. But there we go.
Max is a great driver.
And he's a great defensive driver as well.
And the car's not that bad. He just is
The
dragging.
car's great. The car's great. It's like it's either the first, second, or third best car on the grid all season. Yeah. And we're saying that it's rubbish. It's not. It's a great car, and he's a great driver. So of course he's going to be fighting for wins in those scenarios.
But he is dragging that team.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
But as a driver, I can't deny, and I wouldn't be upset this year if Max wins, because he's been the
best driver.
He's been the best driver, and he's had a challenge.
Do you know what I mean? Norris has not been the best driver this year. There's no way.
No. There's been points where he's been the best driver. But
Tom Downey's entered the chat. Just enters in with morning wankers.
Morning wanker.
Morning Chungus. How you doing? Right. What else do we need to talk about now? Because I need to wrap up. So anything else we need to talk about for this race? We've basically talked about turn 1 and the crash between Lando and Verstappen. Cool. Great. Fantastic. Piastri, just bad weekend.
Sorry, I'm trying to read all the Chungus' fucking things. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, what are you saying?
I was just saying, what else do we need to
talk
about?
Can't do two things at once.
We've already spoken about Perez pretty much.
Yeah, boring.
So we've already spoken about Hamilton.
Boring. Oscar had a shit week. Colapinto had a great week.
Ferrari.
Albon had a shit week.
Yep.
Danny Rick.
Colapinto's a bigger. We've covered that.
Talking about
Lawson.
Actually, Lawson. Yeah, what a fucking great week he's had.
Like Lawson,
Worryingly, he's done a Colapinto on this.
Sonoda looked like he was the quicker driver all weekend until it got to the races, the sprint and then the race. Like he lost his head. And that's the thing with Sonoda. He loses his head far too often.
Yeah.
That's what's stopping him getting promoted.
Getting stressed as to why he was behind Sargent, as if
Sargent.
Not Sargent, why he was behind Lawson.
Yeah.
I always get Sargent Lawson mixed up, and I don't quite know why. But anyway, why he was behind Lawson, and you just sat there just going, because you're not driving as well. And okay, there's a bit of pit stop bias here, but it just is what it is. Get over it and fucking drive better.
Yeah. Lawson did have a better car. Like he had a brand new power unit in that car as well.
Yeah.
So that would have definitely helped. He had the superior strategy. In fact, Tom just put that in the comment. He did have the superior strategy. I said in the grid talk chat that which I was ignored. Tom, you ignored me. That the hard starting on the hard was the far superior strategy.
Yeah.
But people started on the mediums to get the better launch off the line.
Yeah.
Everyone who started on hards, unless they were in the gravel after 5 laps, they all improved their race position.
Yeah.
They all did very well.
Which sort of the sort of, if you're at the bottom or you're out position.
More points for Haas as well. 4 points for Hulkenberg in the race, and then some points in the sprint as well. They're flying. I mean, what's the standings like for now? Let's look at the constructor standings. So we've got Haas are now on 38 points, 2 points ahead of RB. So that's the fight. 6th place, and Haas look like they got the best car out of those two at the moment. Yeah. Lawson has been brought in to basically try and rescue that for RB, and if he does, the reward will be a Sergio Perez race seat.
Do you think?
Yeah, I can. I don't think Perez will be in F1 next year.
I don't know.
I can't see. They can't.
The only thing I think that
if Lawson continues,
is that Christian is his fanboy.
If Lawson continues down this track, they're not.
Look, it's one fucking race. Carlos still hasn't got a fucking seat at the moment. So
yeah, I know, but that's the thing. This is what might lead to it. I can see Helmut Marko being, we need Colapinto in the car. So I can see genuinely Lawson carrying on this form over the next 5 races. If he beats Tsunoda the next 5 races, he's in that Red Bull next year. Perez out of F1, and then Colapinto gets drafted in the RB alongside Tsunoda. I can genuinely see that.
Which Bowles has alluded to, that Colapinto needs a seat, and he doesn't really care where he goes.
It'll only be a loan. And can you see Red Bull loaning God, that is the ultimate. That is the ultimate insult on the Red Bull young driver program. They got 50 drivers in the pool waiting for F1, and then Red Bull loaned someone from another driver program.
From Williams as well. It's not even like of all the teams, Williams.
Yeah.
You know.
That's just the ultimate insult.
Like, yeah, imagine being one of those other 50 drivers sat there going, lads, like, look, I don't know if Carlo Pinto will end up in that RB, or, I mean, he could still end up in Audi. There is that option. We still haven't got a second driver there.
The live stream are talking about exactly what we were just talking about. So sorry, it looks like I've just copied you, but I've genuinely just seen the comments.
Well, we're ahead.
Yeah,
we're ahead.
Tom makes a very good point. Yeah, but that's what I mean. They were talking about it before we were.
Oh, I haven't even looked at this.
Yeah, Tom makes a good point. The last time VCarb plucked a Williams driver, it didn't go well. Nick de Vries. So yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Right, what else do we need to talk about here? Williams, yeah, they're just kind of limping through. They're not going to catch RB. 8th place is going to be their best scenario. So it's Williams versus Alpine for the rest of the season. Sauber, can they get a point? No, they're going to be pointless. Aston Martin, again, just floating around in 5th place, not getting anything particularly interesting. That's just limping through to the end of the season, and Mercedes doing the same. It's you got, weirdly, we got the top 3 is exciting in the Constructors' Championship, and then we've got 6th and 7th, 8th and 9th, and that's it really in the Constructors. There's nothing else really worth fighting for.
Yeah, top 3, 4th is nailed on, 5th is nailed on.
In the
6th, 7th is a fight, and then 8th and 9th.
Everyone's fairly spaced out in the drivers as well.
What the fuck are you doing?
Oh my God, it's like 13 points all season. That's horrendous.
And yet Ocon's got a seat.
Yeah, in Haas.
And Gasly's staying. Who's Gasly with? Gasly's got...
Yeah, Gasly's staying.
He's got Jack Doohan, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
You know. And Ollie Behrman coming in is going to be good. So, you know, into Haas.
Yeah.
Who else is in Haas?
You said Behrman and Ocon.
Oh yeah, that's it.
And then Magnussen is probably going to be their reserve driver, because they're actually going to have a proper reserve driver from next year, because now they've got Toyota coming in, pumping money into them.
Are they actually pumping money? I thought it was just a...
So it's a technical partnership. We haven't actually spoken about this. It's a technical partnership. They're going to be they're going to have access to the Toyota simulator, which is very good, which is something they've never had the opportunity to do. They're going to be providing mechanics to help with their old car testing program. So they're actually going to be able to run old Hasses for giving their younger drivers a chance to test as well. So that's going to help them as well. So it's definitely going to help them. It's going to move them into the position where they might potentially be able to fight to not be the worst car on the grid if everyone nails it. Because at the moment, if everyone does as good a job as they should do, Haas should be 10th every year, without question. They are the smallest team. They've got the least budget. They've got the least available to them. There's nothing. Yeah. Haas should not be ahead of anyone else in the championship ever. But when they do, it shows they're doing a good job. And that just shows how bad a job Alpine and Sauber have done. And Williams made a bad start, which they've never really recovered from.
But that was because of a certain driver.
Yeah, and RB are just kind of like, nah.
Yeah.
But even if you double the points for Williams, it's still not an amazing season. It still puts them behind Haas. So you can't even say it's just because of Sargent. It's the car started the season incredibly heavy, and they never really recovered from that. And they haven't optimized in races either. So Haas have done an amazing
I still don't think Williams is as bad as we think they are. If that makes sense. As their points are showing, sorry.
It is now on some tracks, it's pushing a Q3 car.
Yeah. Which is shocking in some ways.
Well, it's good. Like that car can be in the top 10 on genuine pace now, but they're not optimizing. So,
Right. Who's your drivers and dicks?
Oh, driver of the day. Oh God, who am I going to go for driver? I think
for me, it's. I mean, there's only one person really, and that's Leclerc.
No, I don't think so.
Why?
He had the fastest car. The Red Sea opened for him. I think Sainz did a better job than Leclerc.
Oh, sorry, Sainz.
Sainz had to deal with a problem and then had to put the laps in to overtake Verstappen in the pits. It's not Verstappen or Norris. It's not Piastri. Russell would be a good shout, and Hulkenberg would be my two. Russell and Hulkenberg would be the two that I would nominate for driver of the day.
Sorry. No, Lawson. I mean,
Lawson had a good strategy and a new engine.
And was going well, but then had to tow fucking Twatface around because he was losing his engine anyway.
I'm going Hulkenberg, 3 seconds behind Perez.
Yeah,
in a car that shouldn't be up there. He also
then didn't do as well in the sprint.
Did he start behind Colapinto and then finished ahead of him? Lawson did. Hulkenberg or Lawson. I don't know. I'm going to go Hulkenberg.
I'll go Lawson.
There we go. Sorted. Cool. Dick of the day.
With honourable mention to Sainz as well. Dick of the day. Oh, look, I don't want to do it, but we all know who it is.
Who?
F1 stewarding.
The rules. The F1 rules is Dick of the day.
Fucking track. The F1 rules.
Yeah. I mean, no driver really did much wrong, to be honest.
No, there was no one that was really. No, there's no one that I thought was you were fucking dick.
Ruby said in the chat, Toto Wolff for his radio. Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, but then you could go with all the McLaren wall and the thing anyway. Like,
yeah. No, I'm happy to go with the F1 rules.
Sorry, Owain, is Russell your dick of the day or your driver of the day?
I imagine probably driver of the day.
All right.
A delay, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Driver of the day. Yeah. Just clarify.
That's right. I was like,
Yeah. Cool. Right. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up because I've got to go now. I'm already over my time.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Thank you everyone on the live stream. That was really good fun. And thank you everyone for listening. We will see you all next time we decide to do a podcast, which might be at some point soon.
What's worse, dog farts or baby farts? Because fuck me, these dogs are stinking.